Skill can take you to the top, but without the right attitude, you won't stay there. Now let that sink in, because life isn't just about what you can do. It's about how you choose to see, to think, to respond. You can have talent. You can have knowledge. You can even have resources. But if your attitude is wrong, all of it slips through your fingers. Attitude is the foundation. Skill is the tool. And attitude determines how you use the tool. Think of this. Two people, same skill, same chance. One rises, the other falls. What made the difference? It wasn't talent. It wasn't opportunity. It was attitude. Because attitude shapes discipline. Attitude shapes perseverance. Attitude shapes how you handle failure and how you celebrate success. So today, I want to talk with you about something greater than skill, something deeper than talent, something that decides the destiny of every man and woman. It's this. Attitude is more important than skill. Attitude. It's invisible, but it determines everything. See, you can't measure attitude on a scale. You can't hold it in your hand, but you can feel it. Others can see it, and life responds to it. Now, let me tell you something I learned long ago. Skill is important, but skill without the right attitude becomes dangerous. You've seen it, haven't you? Someone with talent, with knowledge, with all the resources, and yet they fail. Why? Because their attitude was sour, their outlook was negative, their perspective was limited. The truth is this: attitude creates the foundation for everything else you build. Think about building a house. You can buy the best wood, the finest bricks, the strongest steel. But if the foundation is weak, the house won't last. The rain comes, the wind blows, and everything falls apart. That's what attitude island. The foundation, it's what holds your life together when the storms come. Now, here's the danger. Most people spend years trying to develop their skill. They go to school. They take classes. They practice. They rehearse. They polish. And that's good. That's necessary. But they ignore the one thing that magnifies or destroys all of it: their attitude. It's not what you know. It's how you carry what you know. Let me give you an example. Two salespeople, same product, same price, same training. One thrives, one struggles. What made the difference? Attitude. One saw rejection as the end. The other saw rejection as feedback. One carried defeat on his face. The other carried hope in his voice. Same skill, different attitude, entirely different outcome. That's how powerful attitude island. Now, let me take you deeper. Your attitude shapes your energy. Your energy shapes how people respond to you. And how people respond to you shapes the opportunities that come your way. It's all connected. If you walk into a room carrying doubt, fear, frustration, people feel it. They pull back. But if you walk in with courage, with enthusiasm, with confidence, people lean forward. They listen. They want to follow you. You see, life doesn't respond to talent alone. Life responds to energy, and energy flows from attitude. Let me put it another way. Attitude is the lens through which you see the world. If your lens is dirty, everything looks cloudy. If your lens is clear, everything looks bright. That's why two people can go through the same problem, yet one collapses and the other grows stronger. The problem didn't change. The attitude did. Now here's the great news. You and I may not control every skill. We may not have the same resources. We may not get the same opportunities, but we can control our attitude every single day, and that makes it the great equalizer. See, skills may take years to develop. Attitude can shift in a moment. The day you decide to think differently, the day you decide to look for opportunity instead of obstacles, the day you decide to rise instead of retreat, that's the day everything changes. But remember this, attitude is not pretending. It's not plastering a fake smile over real pain. Attitude is deeper than that. It's choosing the response. It's saying, I cannot control what happens to me, but I can control what happens in me. That's attitude. That's foundation. Now, let me warn you, Without the right attitude, skill can become arrogance. Without the right attitude, success can become pride. Without the right attitude, failure becomes permanent. But with the right attitude, even failure becomes fertilizer. It feeds the soil of your character. It grows wisdom. It grows resilience. So don't just ask, how can I become more skilled? Ask instead, what attitude am I bringing to the skill I already have? Because here's the truth. You can always find someone more talented. You can always find someone more educated. You can always find someone more experienced. But it's hard to find someone with a winning attitude. And when you carry it, you stand out. You shine. So today, let me challenge you. Examine your foundation. Examine your outlook. Examine your attitude. Because success doesn't begin with talent. It begins with the way you think, the way you feel, the way you choose to approach life. Remember this simple phrase. Your attitude is the architect of your future. And when the architect is strong, the building will last. When the foundation is solid, the storms will pass, and the house will still be standing. So, skill may get you noticed, but attitude will keep you growing. Attitude will keep you climbing. Attitude will keep you becoming. That's why I say, attitude is more important than skill. Let me tell you something. Talent is not enough. Skill alone will not save you. Knowledge alone will not carry you to the top. Because without the right attitude, skill becomes fragile. It breaks under pressure. It collapses in adversity. Now, I've seen this many times. Maybe you have too. A person has incredible talent, sharp, gifted, skilled. They're admired. They're respected. They rise quickly. But then they fall. Why? Because their attitude was never strong enough to sustain their skill. You see, skill can open the door, but it's attitude that keeps the door open. Skill can get you the job, but attitude is what allows you to keep it and grow in it. Let me put it another way. Skill is a tool. Attitude is the hand that uses it. And if the hand is careless, arrogant, or negative, the tool becomes useless. Now, here's a truth I want you to remember. The world is filled with talented failures. People who could play the instrument but never built the character. People who could sell the product but never earned the trust. People who could speak well, but their words carried no spirit. They had the skill, but not the attitude. Think about the great athletes who rose quickly, only to lose it all. They had speed, strength, precision, but they lacked discipline. They lacked humility. They lacked the attitude to respect the very gift they had. Skill made them a star. Attitude, or the lack of it, destroyed them. Here's the lesson. Skill is what you do. Attitude is who you are while you do it. And who you are matters more. Because skill without the right spirit creates trouble. Arrogance, carelessness, neglect. It blinds you. It makes you think you don't need to improve. It makes you think you've already arrived. And the moment you stop growing, you start falling. Now, let's reflect. What makes attitude so powerful compared to skill? Skill can be learned. Attitude must be chosen. Skill is about ability. Attitude is about character. And character is what carries you when ability fades. Because let's face it, ability will fade. We grow older. We lose strength. We change roles. But a great attitude, it shines in every season of life. You might not always be the fastest. You might not always be the sharpest. But you can always choose to be the one with courage, with gratitude, with resilience. Now, think of this. Every day, life tests us. Not just on what we can do, but on how we think, on how we respond, on the spirit we bring into the room. Skill may impress people for a moment, but attitude wins them for a lifetime. Here's another way to see it. When a storm comes, talent can get shaky. Knowledge can get cloudy. But attitude, that deep inner strength, it anchors you. It says, I will not quit. It says, I will learn. It says, I will grow. That's why so many talented people fail. They never built the anchor. They relied only on the sail. The sail looks beautiful when the wind is calm. But when the storm comes, the sail tears. And without an anchor, the ship is lost. Skill is the sail. Attitude is the anchor. Now, here's the good news. You don't need to be the most talented. You don't need to be the most skilled. But if you develop the right attitude, discipline, gratitude, persistence, your steady ship will outlast many flashy ones. I've seen people with less talent succeed because they had the right spirit. They didn't quit. They kept showing up. They stayed humble. And little by little, life rewarded them. On the other hand, I've seen people with incredible skill fail because their attitude poisoned everything they touched. They complained. They blamed. They carried pride instead of humility. And life said, no more. So, ask yourself, am I depending only on my skill? Or am I building the attitude to sustain it? Because skill without attitude is like a car without fuel. It might look good. It might shine, but it won't take you anywhere. And let me leave you with this reminder. Skill makes you capable. Attitude makes you unstoppable. So, don't just sharpen your tools. Sharpen your spirit. Don't just increase your ability. Increase your outlook. Because in the long run, it's not the talented who win. It's the ones with the right attitude. Skill alone is powerful. But skill with the right attitude, that's unstoppable. See, attitude doesn't just support skill. It multiplies it. It takes what you know, what you can do, and makes it bigger, brighter, more valuable. Think about this. Two people with the same level of skill, same training, same background, same opportunity. One succeeds, the other struggles. Why? Attitude. The right attitude turns average skill into extraordinary results. The wrong attitude turns extraordinary skill into wasted potential. Now, attitude is a multiplier. It's like adding fertilizer to a seed. A seed without fertilizer might grow a little, but a seed with the right nourishment, it grows stronger, faster, bigger. Attitude is that nourishment. Here's the truth. Your skill determines your ceiling, but your attitude determines how high you actually go. You see, skill alone says, I can do this task. But attitude says, I can do this task with excellence. Skill alone says, I can solve the problem. But attitude says, I can solve it with creativity, with energy, with joy. And people respond to that. Life responds to that. Let me give you an image. Skill is like light. Attitude is like a lens. The light shines, but the lens decides whether it's focused or scattered. Focused light burns through steel. Scattered light fades into nothing. That's what attitude does to skill. It either concentrates it into power or scatters it into weakness. Now, I've seen people with small talents go very far because they added attitude. They didn't just show up with skill. They showed up with energy, with resilience, with humility, with passion, and suddenly their small skill became big results. Here's what most people miss. Attitude is not about what happens to you. It's about how you see it. It's how you respond. It's how you carry yourself. Life will test you. It will challenge your skill. But the real test is on your attitude. Think of the salesman who hears no again and again. Skill teaches him the script, the pitch, the technique. But attitude decides whether he gets up tomorrow to try again. Skill without attitude quits. Skill with attitude says, I'll try once more. And that one more makes all the difference. Think of the student learning a new subject. Skill gives them the method, the formula, the rules, but attitude gives them persistence. It gives them patience. It gives them the courage to keep at it until the knowledge becomes wisdom. So, here's the principle. Skill gets you in the game. Attitude keeps you in the game long enough to win it. Now, let's reflect on something important. Why do employers, leaders, mentors, why do they value attitude so much? Because skill can be taught. Attitude must be lived. You can hire skill, but you have to develop attitude. And when someone comes with both a decent skill and a great attitude, they're worth their weight in gold. Because they don't just do the job. They lift the room. They inspire others. They set the tone. They multiply the energy. Skill makes you competent. Attitude makes you contagious. And people follow the contagious spirit, not just the competent skill. Now, here's another way to see it. Skill is addition. Attitude is multiplication. Add skill to your life, you grow a little. Add attitude to your life, you grow a lot. Skill plus bad attitude, small progress. Skill plus great attitude, massive success. That's why attitude is the multiplier. It doesn't just add to what you have, it multiplies it many times over. Let me tell you something else. Attitude is a choice. That's what makes it powerful. Skill requires training, time, resources. Attitude requires a decision. Every day you decide, will I face this day with optimism or with doubt? Will I see problems or possibilities? Will I be grateful or resentful? And that choice multiplies everything else in your life. A person with great skill but a poor attitude wastes their potential. A person with average skill but a great attitude, life eventually opens doors for them. Because people want to work with them. People want to help them. People want to see them succeed. Attitude draws opportunities that skill alone cannot. So, here's what I urge you to do. Don't just work on your skills. Work on your attitude. Choose to be positive. Choose to be persistent. Choose to be disciplined. Choose to be grateful. Because when you add those attitudes to your skills, you'll find yourself multiplying results you never thought possible. And let me leave you with this. Skill makes you valuable. Attitude makes you invaluable. Skill can bring you success, but attitude will bring you greatness. Now, let's talk about putting it all together. Attitude, skill, and action. Because here's the truth. Skill alone produces practice. Attitude alone produces energy. But skill plus attitude in action produces results. That's what life is all about. Results. See, it's not what you know that counts. It's not even just how you feel. It's what you do with what you know and how you feel. I've seen people full of talent, but paralyzed by fear. I've seen people with all the training, but no fire to use it. I've seen people with passion, but no direction. Skill without attitude is lifeless. Attitude without skill is powerless. But when you merge the two and put them into motion, you create progress. Now, here's a classic principle. Action is the bridge between potential and achievement. You may have the potential. You may have the tools. You may even have the desire. But without action, all of it stays locked inside. So what does action with attitude look like? It looks like the young professional who doesn't just show up to work with knowledge, but shows up with enthusiasm, with energy, with a smile that says, I'm ready. And suddenly people want to work with him. He doesn't just deliver skill. He delivers value. It looks like the student who doesn't just memorize the formulas, but approaches learning with curiosity, with eagerness, with persistence. That attitude transforms knowledge into understanding, and understanding into wisdom. It looks like the entrepreneur who doesn't just launch a business with a plan, but faces setbacks with resilience, with creativity, with determination. Every obstacle becomes fuel. Every challenge becomes growth. And skill plus attitude produces results. Now let's slow this down, because the difference is subtle. Skill says, I can. Attitude says, I will. Skill says, I know what to do. Attitude says, I'll do it no matter how tough it gets. Skill says, I have the knowledge. Attitude says, I'll use it with discipline every single day. That's the difference. That's what creates results. Here's another way to see it. Skill is like a set of tools. Attitude is the hand that picks them up. Tools sitting in the box. Don't build the house, but tools in the hands of someone with the right attitude. That house gets built. Brick by brick, nail by nail, day by day. Now, let's talk about a dangerous trap. Many people confuse preparation with performance. They keep learning. They keep studying. They keep building skill, but they never step forward with the right attitude to use it. And here's what happens. Knowledge without action fades. Skill without practice weakens. But attitude in action sharpens everything. Let me give you a phrase worth remembering. Don't just be a learner. Be a doer. Don't just be a thinker. Be an achiever. Don't just be a talker. Be a performer. Because when you do, life rewards you. Not for what you could do, but for what you actually do. Now, some people say, but Jim, I'm afraid I'll fail. And here's what I tell them. Failure with the right attitude is more valuable than success with the wrong one. Because failure teaches. Failure refines. Failure builds resilience. But quitting teaches nothing. When you act with the right attitude, even your failures push you forward. They sharpen your skill. They strengthen your character. And soon, those failures become the foundation for success. Now let's talk about consistency. Because attitude in action isn't about a one-time burst. It's about steady, daily effort. It's like watering a plant. You don't flood it once and walk away. You water it a little every day. That daily action with the right spirit creates growth. So, what does this mean for you? It means every day you wake up, you decide, today, I'll take what I know, add the right attitude, and put it into motion. And if you do that day after day, you'll be amazed at what you can build. Let me give you 3 simple steps to keep this alive. 1, check your attitude before you act. Ask yourself, am I moving forward with optimism or with doubt? With persistence or with hesitation? Choose the higher path. 2, use your skill intentionally. Don't just let your knowledge sit. Apply it. Test it. Stretch it. That's how skill grows. 3, measure results, not just effort. Remember, life rewards results. Keep track, reflect, adjust, improve. Because action with attitude is not blind movement. It's purposeful progress. Now, here's the magic. The more you act with the right attitude, the more doors open. People notice. Opportunities appear. Momentum builds. And suddenly, what started as small skill plus good attitude becomes extraordinary achievement. Let me leave you with this. Skill opens the door. Attitude walks you through, but only action keeps you inside. So, don't just collect knowledge. Don't just feel inspired. Step forward, act, and watch your life transform. When it's all said and done, life will measure you, not just by what you knew, not just by what you could do, but by what you chose to do and how you chose to do it. That's legacy. And legacy, my friend, is built not on skill alone, but on attitude. See, skill gets you noticed. Attitude gets you remembered. Skill helps you climb. Attitude determines how you treat others on the way up and how they'll remember you when you're gone. Now, let's pause here because this is important. Most people think legacy is about money or property or reputation, but legacy is deeper. Legacy is the feeling people carry after you've walked out of the room. Legacy is the story they tell when they describe your life. Legacy is the seed you plant in others through your attitude long after you're no longer here. And here's the truth. You cannot control how long you live, but you can control what you leave behind. Have you ever noticed how one person's spirit can light up a room? They may not be the most skilled. They may not be the most educated, but their attitude creates energy. It changes the atmosphere. That's legacy in motion. Because people don't always remember your words. They don't always remember your skill, but they never forget how you made them feel. And your attitude is the driver of that feeling. If you carry bitterness, it spreads. If you carry hope, it spreads. If you carry gratitude, it spreads. If you carry discipline, it spreads. Attitude, good or bad, and the legacy you leave will be shaped by what you spread. Let me be direct here. A brilliant man with the wrong attitude can destroy trust. A skilled leader with arrogance can ruin a team. A talented parent with bitterness can poison a home. That's the tragedy of neglecting attitude. Because talent might get you ahead for a while, but a poor attitude eventually erases even the best skill. What good is it to climb the mountain of success if at the top you stand alone, resented, or forgotten? I've seen too many people build fortunes, but lose their families. I've seen too many people gather applause, but lose respect. Why? Because they forgot. Attitude creates the true legacy. But here's the other side, the inspiring side. A teacher with an encouraging attitude shapes generations. A leader with a humble spirit builds organizations that last. A parent with gratitude and hope passes down strength to children who will carry it forward. That's the power of attitude in action. It outlives you. It keeps speaking even after you've stopped. Let me give you a phrase. Skill builds your career. Attitude builds your character. Character builds your legacy. And character lasts longer than career. Now, let's get practical. How do you make sure your attitude leaves the right mark? 1. Check your attitude daily. Every morning, ask yourself, what am I bringing into the room today? Doubt or belief? Fear or courage? Complaints or gratitude? Your daily check becomes your daily influence. 2. Treat people with dignity. Remember, people forget your exact words, but they never forget how you made them feel. A kind word, a respectful tone, a listening ear. These small acts build a powerful legacy. 3. Stay humble, even with skill. Skill might make you valuable, but humility makes you unforgettable. People follow skill for a season, but they follow humility for a lifetime. 4. Persevere with a smile. Life is tough. Everyone knows it. But when people see you handle difficulty with grace, with courage, with faith, your attitude inspires. That's legacy. 5. Lift others as you climb. Success is sweeter when it's shared. Don't just use skill to rise yourself. Use attitude to lift others along the way. Because here's the truth. When you reach the end of your journey, people won't ask, what skills did he have? They'll ask, how did he live? What did she give? How did they make us feel? Let me share a picture with you. There are 2 men, both skilled, both successful. One man, brilliant at business, but harsh, critical, selfish. When he left wealth. People spoke of his accomplishments, yes, but few spoke of his kindness. The other man, also successful, but more than that, he was encouraging, grateful, respectful. When he left not just wealth, but warmth. People spoke not only of what he did, but of how he lived. Both men had skill. Only one left a legacy of attitude. Which one do you want to be? Someday, your skills will fade. Your accomplishments will be surpassed. Your titles will be forgotten. But your attitude, your courage, your kindness, your faith, your discipline will echo long after you're gone. That's why I say, attitude is more important than skill. Skill ends with you. Attitude multiplies through others. So, live with this in mind. Every second is a chance to build your legacy. Every action, every choice. They all stack up. And in the end, when people remember you, they won't just remember what you did. They'll remember who you were. And that, my friend, is the true reward. Not just a life of achievement, but a life of influence. Not just a career of success, but a legacy of significance. Skill might make your name known, but attitude will make your name remembered. So, guard your attitude, nurture it, live it, and leave behind a life that speaks long after you're gone. So here's the lesson, my friend. It's not the size of your talent. It's not the length of your resume. It's the strength of your attitude. Because skills fade. Titles change. But attitude lives on. Carry a spirit of gratitude. Carry a spirit of discipline. Carry a spirit of courage. And you'll leave behind more than success. You'll leave behind significance. Remember this. Your attitude shapes your destiny, and it shapes the story others will tell about you. So, decide today. Decide to live with the right attitude, and watch how it transforms not only your success, but your legacy. That's the real reward, and it's available to every one of us, if we choose it.